What's going on, everybody? Wilson here, your spiritual hype man, and hopefully you're having a great day today. In this episode, I want to talk about 20 years of imprisonment, and it's just a story, an example, a point of perspective, if you will, to be able to help others when it comes to understanding, why we do the things that we do, and why we, why we're preempt to make certain decisions in certain situations, right? And that's what we've discussed. Remember the framework: influence creates thoughts. These thoughts then drive our emotions or create emotions. These emotions then drive our actions, which are decisions. And then these decisions create our outcome, which leads us to another situation, right? And then we repeat this pattern throughout our lives, because life is just an accumulation of situations and decisions that we make over time. So this example is I had a friend of mine come over, and he's going through some things too, and internally in terms of some of the things that we're talking about, just being able to, one, feel better about yourself internally, mentally, and then two, making better decisions when certain situations arise. Okay, and so this certain individual grew up with similar backgrounds in terms of, like, a parent that, for lack of better words, is just in terms of either an abusive parent or just the person at that time didn't really understand what they were doing in terms of how their actions were affecting the individual or the kid or the son in this particular case. So after speaking with him and coming to the realization, it's like, and he's also a veteran, and he also was on the police force. So for a good, and the thought came to me, I was like, for a good amount of years, I asked him, like, how long have you been in, like, between the military, the police force, and then obviously growing up, as a kid? And he was like, roughly about 20 plus years. I'm like, well, dude, for 20 plus years, you've been in this mental, like, you've been trained to be in this, like, mental walking on eggshells sort of thing. You have to, like, keep looking to your left or right, make sure no one's trying to shoot at you or hit you or gun you down. Like, you've been on a 20-year journey where most of your influences and situations have put you in this, you have to be this way, right? Like, in order to survive these situations, you have to be on this high alert, high decision-making, quick decision-making, like reaction / state of mind, right? So, like, you have to give you, and my suggestion was, you just have to give yourself a little bit of a break. You can't be so tough on yourself, because you've been in 20 years, like, you've been in these situations for 20 years. Like, you've been imprisoned in this larger macro situation where you have to be this way. So for you to think that, like, tomorrow you're going to get into a situation out here in the, like, I don't want to call it the normal world, because this world is not fucking normal, okay? But, like, out here in the world, and like, to think that you're going to be able to, slow your roll down, not be in that state where you were for the last 20 years is very not logical, right? It's not logical at all, because it's like a dog, like, or an animal, or even a human being. You fucking train us, like, throughout the influence of the things that we do repetitively, we then become altered, or we then, I don't even want to say altered, but we're then part of, like, we're ready to go, right? Like, whatever we train in, right? So let's say 20 years of training soccer or the flute or whatever the fuck, you're ready to go and be a fucking master at that. So for 20 years, if we're in relationships or we're in situations where you're walking on eggshells and you're afraid that if you say something or you do something or something's going to happen, you got to look over your shoulder. Of course, 20 years later, you're going to be in a situation, and your mind is going to be racing and thinking, like, why can't I just be normal in these, quote unquote normal situations, and make better decisions, and not jump to, being upset, or jump to being angry, or jump to, like, reacting, or et cetera, et cetera. So what I would recommend, for anyone that's listening that might be in that situation, that you feel like you're not normal, or you're not, able to make these decisions that help you move forward in a way that could be more positive or better for you and the people around you, just give yourself a second to identify how long have you been in a situation, or how long were your influences influencing you to be this way, right? And then give yourself a little bit of credit and slack. One, credit that you're aware of it, and two, slack to understand that like change doesn't fucking happen overnight unless we really outweigh, I don't know, life or death shit, right? That's where it's like, hey, you smoke one more cigarette, you're going to die. Some people still smoke that fucking cigarette, right? So like, we just have to understand that, give ourselves a little bit of a fucking, of a break and not be so hard on ourselves, and turn around and add to that fucking mental state of calling yourself, hey, you're not good enough. Like, come on, fuck face, you fucked up again, So like, that would be an aha moment that that I shared with my friend, in order of just understanding that, like, dude, it's been 20 years, and the fact that he said to me is like, I never thought of it that way. I've never seen it that way, and that's true for everyone in the world, even myself. Until you hear it in a certain way or in a certain manner, you may not get it. It may not click right away. You may not have that point of perspective where you're like, that's my aha moment. Wow, now I understand, right? So now that you understand it, you become aware of these things, then it's really reinforcing it. Just like the last 20 years of reinforcing it have to be like, behind me, like reinforcing now the fact that you know what it is, and then reinforcing the things that are going to take you further away from those 20 years of influence, from those 20 years of imprisonments of walking on eggshells. Okay? So if you're going through that, or you feel that way, or someone, that may be dealing with that, I would just encourage you to share that and share that story. Like, hey, how long have you been in certain situations that have put you in this situation? For most of us, most of our lives, until we become aware of it, or until we realize that, like, yo, I don't want to feel this way anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. Give yourself a pat on the back. Congratulate yourself for being aware, and then start reinforcing the things that are going to help you move yourself further away from the things that, from those situations or influences, and things that are going to bring you to that level of, being that person imprisoned to like do the same thing, or to react the same way, that you were brought up 20 years ago, or you were put yourself into those situations. All right, homies. I love you so much. Hope all is well. If there is anything that you need from me, I'm going to continue putting these out. But please, look, I'm going to put the podcast on the website. Now, the website does have some merch, of course. Feel free to support. If not, no worries. But the most important part is just sharing any of these podcasts, or these points of perspectives, or these aha moments that you may get with somebody that may need to hear it. And side note, some people may need it, but some people may not be ready, right? I've been there where no one can tell me shit, because I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and I know how to do it, and I'm going to fucking succeed, until I failed a couple of times, and then I was ready to listen. And that's just part of it. A percentage of us in this entire world will listen before having to go take the action and fail. A bigger percentage of us, I feel, have to go do it themselves and fail, and then are ready to listen. But that's okay. Like, everybody's in their own journey. Everybody's on their own, path. At some point, someone will be ready to hear it, and then you can present it. Love you guys again. Have a great day. Keep crushing it. Remember, nothing changes until you do. We'll see you in the next one. Or hear you on the next one. Peace.